Welcome, everybody. It is Crypto Moose, and it's time to get loose. Mitchell Bouchard, your crypto and NFT investor. We have a special guest right now. I'm going to embarrass him for a moment. This is Fareed from Dapp Central. So, ladies and gentlemen, today is a special day as we are joined by none other than the accomplished Fareed, also known as the mastermind behind Dapp Central. In the remarkable year of 2023, I did use ChatGPT, guys. At the Cardano Summit Awards, Fareed Dapp Central received the prestigious recognition as Educational Influencer. He clinched the award for his outstanding contributions as an individual or team, providing technical solutions to the Cardano ecosystem. And this is true. I watch you all the time. I'm sure everybody else on Crypto Moose has seen you. And if you guys haven't, guys, subscribe to Dapp Central, delegate to the stake pool. We'll talk about that more. So Fareed, what do you have to say, especially about, we got ETFs that just came out?
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you for having me, Moose. Fareed is loose tonight, man. Um,
Fareed is loose.
yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Things have just been crazy, in and out of crypto. It's 2024. Super thankful to have made it to a new year, and excited for everything that's going on within the crypto and blockchain space. So, yeah, thanks again for having me, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. And usually when I do these interviews, it's pretty laid back, but we've chatted a few times, and I try to take it easy a little bit on the trolling online. But let's talk about who you are. Why did you start Dapp Central? What is Dapp Central? Can you talk about that just kind of briefly?
Yeah, for sure. So, Dapp Central is an educational YouTube channel. Now, I'm looking to grow it out of YouTube and into other platforms, Twitter being one of them, Discord, growing a community over there, basically just making it a brand. But yeah, its main focus is going to be the Cardano ecosystem. So, everything from tutorials, news highlights, interviews, if it's being done in Cardano, my goal is to have some sort of content or some sort of video covering that specific thing. So right now, the buzz has, of course, been Project Catalyst. There's been updates for different protocols, etc. And so that's really what Dapp Central is all about, really trying to educate the community and again, get that word out there when it comes to Cardano. Now, how Dapp Central came to be is actually pretty interesting. So, I mean, I'm not too far ahead of my personal crowd. The people that I create the content for, I was in their shoes at one point. I came into the space actually right after the peak of the bull run in terms of Cardano specifically. I'd always had an interest in crypto, didn't really have the capital funds to invest in it early on. I was fresh out of college, but I understood what it was. Now, at that time, I only focused on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then towards the latter end of the bull run that just took place in 2021, I pivoted and took a look at newer technology, one of them being more affordable, which was Cardano. And so that's how I came into the space, and when I was fresh in, I was looking for people to follow, people to watch. And so people that came before me were the people that I was watching. And I basically found out that after a while, I kind of had a knack for it, but there were kind of gaps in the ecosystem where I wanted updates, but I couldn't find them. So I found myself, reading these white papers, doing the work myself. And then I was like, well, I mean, I've kind of done the legwork. Why not just document it, post it online, and maybe somebody else wants to, listen to what I have to say in order to basically get the same answers question, or excuse me, get the same questions answered. And so
Yeah.
that's how the channel started. That was, 600 videos ago, and just got a little bit better, did a little bit more every day until the point where I'm at now. And like I said, at this point, it's kind of crazy to think that people watch and listen to my content, but that's really what it's all about. Everybody putting their hands to the plow and not having to ask anybody for permission, but just following it in, just being diligent and being consistent.
Yeah, for sure. I think the one strong point, at least when it comes to your channel, that I've noticed is when it comes to the specifics, the technicalities, because crypto is complicated, right? You have simple ideas, but spread out over time. In crypto, you have all these blockchains. It's complicated. For even myself, it's kind of nice because I create content. It's more general, but you really you create a lot of videos, and I view you more as like a news channel of Cardano almost because when something happens, you do the video and you get it out swiftly. Maybe you want to talk about that, but like how much work goes into that? And I think most people, you guys can comment down below. How much do you guys look forward to DAP Central because the news comes out quick. So I don't like to read, but I do retain well watching videos. So I watch, it was Crypto Crow, now you. So what's it like doing that? Because I know the space is moving. We have smart contracts. So talk about that.
Yeah, not a problem. I also want to give you a shout out real quick. I feel like you've got super high quality content too, right? I think that that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people tend to forget about within this particular space, right? It's brand new, it's emerging technology, and a lot of people cut corners. And so from day one, I made it up in my mind that I wasn't going to cut any corners and that I really wanted to put out quality over quantity. And I feel like it's kind of paid dividends, in terms of the actual amount of time that goes into videos. I remember when I first started, taking over 6, 7, 8 hours, just to record the script, to even write down the script. Like that was half of the video, was just planning the content
Yeah.
and then actually, sitting down, recording it. It's not natural to speak into a camera, especially when you're doing it for 2, 3 hours per day. But it got easier, So my first couple of videos, a lot of jump cuts, a lot of edits. That's where I really learned, recording, video editing, managing the sound, doing the thumbnails, and then actually doing all the meta stuff on YouTube, right? Description, tags, timestamps, ads, all of that, optimization. Like, again, that's really one video. People don't realize when they open up a video and they watch it and they consume content, it's super easy to do that.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, I found myself in the same situation, but when you actually start to create the content, you're like, holy crap, a lot of time goes into actually doing all of this and then doing it daily, weekly, monthly. It's almost kind of like when you start, it's really hard to stop. And so over the course of the past couple of, months, years now, it's gotten a lot easier, to the point now where, yeah, I'm able to crank it out a lot faster. I'm also a lot more knowledgeable about what I'm actually talking about, to where I don't have to sit down and script everything in as much detail because, again, I can kind of recall it, right? Imagine being a car salesman for, 10, 15 years, whatever the expertise is. After that 10 to 15 years, I mean, you can talk about that particular niche, without even having to think about it. You can go to sleep, wake up and talk about that specific thing. And it's the same thing with crypto. You come in brand new. Over the course of, talking different projects, meeting different builders, things get easier over time.
Yeah, that's a good point because I think about that often too. And I did write it down is when you're going to teach something, it's really the first time where you ask yourself like, hey, do I really know this? Because I used to create online courses on video production. I still do every now and again, but that's how I blew up kind of like in terms of on camera, actually learning how to make videos. Because I started with the technicalities of, cinema lenses, shooting on film, all that, right? That's my degree, my background. But to hit on that is you have to know so much more than what you're teaching so that you feel comfortable teaching it. So you have to be like if you know a 10 on 10, then you can kind of teach like a 5 or 6 on 10, if that makes sense. But if you know everything, or if you know, for example, you're like a pro at something, it's hard to teach another pro. You can basically teach an intermediate. So do you kind of experience that too, where, for even myself, it's like, for me to actually teach about Cardano, I have to become a pro to teach the beginner stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very good way to put it. I'll be the first to tell you, I am not a developer. I understand coding languages. I understand the basics. I understand object-oriented programming. That in itself is extremely hard to learn. But then when you add blockchain on top of it and how quickly it develops, it's hard to be an expert in everything. So again, you have to pick where you want to spend your time and what you want to do that you genuinely enjoy. So just like what I'm telling you now, I can go find a developer that's never had any time speaking in front of a camera. You put them in front of a camera and now they're uncomfortable, right? So everybody's got different strengths. Has different skills.
Yeah.
Some people are coders. Some people are managers. Some people are content creators. Some people are artists. It's whatever comes to you naturally. And so it was kind of a process for me to find myself, but I tend to agree with you, right? You can't teach necessarily at the same exact level that you are, but you're able to at least learn. And as you learn, you can try to either document it, right? To at least put it out there, not necessarily that you're teaching people, but it's out there for people to consume, because you may not realize it even when you're not technically teaching, you're still providing value. Somebody might find value in what you're putting out there. It doesn't necessarily have to be educational. Sometimes people just have entertainment content or entertaining content, and people still come and watch that type of content. So I feel like there's a bunch of different ways you can go at it. But yeah, like I said, I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know everything about Cardano. Just like a developer might not know everything about content creation. Everybody's got their own niche, their own silo, their own strengths, and it's just playing to whatever strengths you have.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. I remember I was like, man, like I want to do crypto content, but it's hard to find that moment of like when to start, right? Because you feel like, you're not, who am I to create content about this, right? But really for me, I wanted to teach myself because I want to learn about crypto and creating this channel. It's like, I get to meet people like you. We engage a lot. Like even recently I was on your guys' stream, kind of goofing around, getting loose. But to ask questions though of like what are some ISPOs, get it quick, because there's so much happening at once. So I like that. But I want to switch the question. We got to dive into this because you're Fareed, right? Like you got Charles Hoskinson probably calling you 12 times a day. You just got so much attention, right? I mean, it's Fareed, right? Like here, let's talk about Kopi. Kopi node sales. What are your thoughts on that? I know it's tier 4. I think there's only a couple left. Let's call it. What are your thoughts on Kopi and the Kopi node sale specifically?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. So Kopi is by far one of the most solid teams, number one. But then number two, their community is extremely strong. And so it's an equation, right? You can't have a product without a community, and you can't have a community without a product. Cornucopias has both. And so when the first NFTs came out, I was blown away. And that was way back in Unreal Engine 4. And then they released Unreal Engine 5. And I'm just like, man, how did this get any better than it already was? And then most recently, as you mentioned, they released their Kopi node sale, right? So I've got early access to the game. I'm thankful for that. And when I downloaded it, it took me about 40 to 45 minutes to download everything. It's, I think, 17 gigabytes of data. Now, that process, it happens every couple of weeks when they release a new build. So I kind of felt, like, hey, this takes a lot of time. Like when I'm trying to play like right then and there. It's not like I want to fire it up and then figure out I've got to download something. So I kind of felt the pain point before they even announced the node sale. So when they announced it, it made perfect sense to me. Again, when you're an average user, you're not looking to sit there and wait for the product to download. You just want to jump in there, play a little bit. If you got, 30 to 45 minutes of a break, you can't afford to lose any of that time. So I understood the use case of the actual nodes themselves. And I think that from a product market fit, it makes perfect sense. Now, not only does it make sense for the end user, it also makes sense for the node operator and the Cornucopias team. So it's a win-win for all three parties, right? Party number one, Cornucopias gain. They're able to get their product out there. Super simple, super quick. Whoever's operating the node, they're able to earn the Kopi token, or they're rewarded by the Kopi token. And then the end user gets a fast, smooth, seamless user experience. So everybody that's involved in the actual node process should be satisfied. So that was kind of like checkbox number 2. I was like, okay, cool. I'm on board. I can see the problem. I can see the solution, and I can see that it's a win-win all around. And so with the actual node sale, I did pick up a couple. So for full transparency, I do plan on becoming a node operator. I think it's a simple, passive way to earn Kopi, contribute to the network, and you also don't know what additional benefits you might get in the future, right? By being an early adopter in this platform. So this team has a tendency to remember people that are early supporters. Just like with the OG group, these are the people that were like the first 1,000 people within the Discord, and then they kind of expanded that to people that just contribute heavily into the project or into the community. So I can definitely see something like that potentially coming out in the near future. Again, not financial advice. Don't go investing in the nodes because there's the potential for something to happen. Look at it for the black and white, what it is. But those are just some additional things that may come down the pipes. But overall, I think it's a good fit. Makes sense to me. Like I said, I'm going to be an operator, and I'm excited to actually get the documentation and all the requirements to go ahead and finally set up a node, given the fact that I do already run a stake pool as well. So adding to, again, some of these different ways to contribute to the network while also benefiting from providing the security and some of the services that come with being a node operator.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm always impressed with the NFTs. But like, I don't play video games, but from day one, since I've seen cornucopias, I love the idea of flying around in that bubble jet. For me, I have a dome, land, and I have like 20 bubble jets. I want to have 100, but I'm like, let's just slow down. Can't get loose all at once, right? So
Right, right, right.
that was well put, man. That was a phenomenal answer to that.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, I thought it'd be kind of short and sweet. That those are really good points, though. The team, like Rob and Josh, right? They're
Hmm.
always thinking about ways how can the community benefit from this as well. So I've liked that as well. So to stay on cornucopias, Kopi, guys, comment down below if you guys have any questions for Fareed or myself. I'll be able to message you as well on YouTube. So, what are you most excited about when it comes to cornucopias? Um, Recently, I checked out the roadmap. I did a video. They accomplished basically everything, right? Completely amazing. 2024. What are you most excited about for cornucopias?
I would honestly say probably the expansion, right? So we've only tasted maybe 2, 3% of what's to come. So it's like, okay, after Kalido, what's next? I think it's Esperanza. Um, right now, I believe we're in Solace. So there's going to be so much more than what we currently see. And what we currently see are, some of the racing activities. We now have the brand new oh my goodness, of course I'm going to forget the name of it. It's like the soccer. That is a brand new activity. They did tease what appears to be fishing, right? Very, very soon as well. So I'm excited for the activities. We haven't gotten to actually get our hands on mining just yet. That was available at Rare Evo and at CNFT So I was lucky enough to be able to sit by Rob and Josh and actually do a little bit of mining, check out the mines. And it's all of these little things that make it the entire experience. And so that's exactly what I'm looking forward to is just the expansion of all of the new areas, the new activities, of course, the nodes, again, because that provides a brand new opportunity. But to finally be able to actually put these NFTs to use and be able to start seeing these integrations and partnerships come alive. I know one of them, and you cover them pretty well on your channel, is going to be Dega, right? So to be able to see, some of these partnerships come to fruition. There were talks about Meld also collaborating with Cornucopias, right? Giving us some sort of bubble jet wrap, right? In like that Meld Crimson Red. Seeing some of these things come to life is what has me excited. And again, just being able to finally start the play to earn, learn to earn, and even just play to play economy, just showing up just because you want to show up, not necessarily doing it because there's an incentive, but showing up because you genuinely want to play the game.
Yeah, we're very early on cornucopias, right? Like the heart of the game is what going to be out in a couple years from now, whatever it may be. So I think we got a little ways to go. Is it Rocket League? That's what it's called.
Yeah, so Rocket League is the one with the cars, but yes, that's what it reminded me of actually when I first saw it. So very similar to like Rocket League, but you're playing with your actual feet. So it's called Rumble Ball. So we were correct. I was hesitating. I didn't want to mispronounce or say the wrong thing there, but it's called Rumble Ball. So it looks almost kind of like foosball, but you're playing in like this closed environment. You can kick the ball around, do all that good stuff. It's again it's the little things. This team does not let any detail slide under their radar.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, they have so many different vehicles. I think the Ethereum first vehicle is going to be out. Is that the Valkyrie? Something like that. It looks like a pretty badass vehicle right there. So, yeah, that's awesome. I'm super bullish on Kopi. It's like 70% of my portfolio. The moose is getting loose, man, on that. So, Meld. Let's talk about Meld recently. So, I've been covering that for a while. My first video, my first real like alt token video was Meld at like a penny. So that was kind of cool to look back on. It hasn't really exploded yet in terms of price, but that's okay because I believe in the team. I believe in what they're building. I think it's a cool opportunity, right? What are your thoughts on the staking? Do you like that personally? I like the idea of the NFTs in the locked and how they do the liquid staking. So For those of you that don't know, lock staking is when you lock in your assets and you can, get your rewards at a later date. But with liquid staking, your funds are more liquid, so you can get in and out easier. So, what are your thoughts on Meld? Have you done that? What are your overall thoughts? We haven't talked about that.
Man, another good question. I think you're doing a great job from the interviewer standpoint. It's funny. I feel like I'm always interviewing people and I don't ever get interviewed. So it's kind of good to have the role swapped
Yeah,
as a
dude,
part of
I'm
this.
I'm pulling a Patrick Bet David, man. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm just just getting people
He,
on.
he's killing it too, actually, from a content creator standpoint. That just goes to show you, man, anybody in this creator economy can really do this as long as you're providing value. I mean, that guy's in his what, maybe late 40s.
Yeah.
He's a, but yeah, he's killing it on
No
YouTube.
boomers are interviewing Tom Brady and Mike Tyson in the same week like he is.
Right,
Like
right.
I'm
So he's
abashed by what he's doing. He's crushing it.
super impressive. I've
We
been
won't get into the
following.
politics side of it, but like, yeah, for sure.
I mean, you have to know the boundaries as well, right? Because like, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you have to know the kind of people that subscribe to your channel and why, right? And respect that. I think that's why a lot of people kind of fall into a trap. Sometimes they don't respect their viewership. At the end of the day, yes, it's called YouTube, but you still have to understand that you're putting out content to um, provide value to others.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to, cater to those people. Anywho, let me not get sidetracked. Let's jump back into Meld.
Yeah.
Meld was one of the first discords that I was actually hanging out in long time ago. A lot of people still in that discord. I pop in there from time to time whenever I got the time. Creating as much content as I do now, I don't have as much time to really be really heavy in the discords anymore. But that was what I truly enjoyed back then, was meeting the community again, learning about these protocols, hanging out in the discords, talking to the team, talking to, whether it's the leads of communication. Ken would pop in there from time to time, etc. I say all that to say that was one of the first projects I was extremely bullish on after reading their white paper. And so to have followed them for over the last 2 years, I've been able to really watch them build. And so, of course, they get a lot of flack for, their focus now on their own L1.
Yeah.
But as they've stated and as they've shown, their Haskell or Plutus code base is still available on Cardano. So anybody can go out and actually check the Meld code base that shows the smart contracts for lending and borrowing. And they even went as far as actually launching those on the testnet, right? So for anybody that says, hey, Meld isn't building here on Cardano, I understand some of the frustrations with the ISPO, and then now they're focused on their own L1. But to be completely fair, they have shown that they can deliver. Again, on Cardano, they've launched their Bank Manager NFT here on Cardano. They've launched their Meld Diamond Hand NFT on Cardano. They've launched the testnet here on Cardano as well. And then pivoting over to staking, which is what you originally asked about. If you take a look, not only do they have staking on their own native L1, they've also got support for ADA staking within their wallet. So they definitely have not forgotten about the Cardano community. But again, I understand how some people may feel as if they've moved away or left Cardano. What was really interesting too was I'm sure you saw the video that came out from Coin Bureau about a week ago, where everybody was kind of up in arms about his Cardano review. One of the projects that he mentioned by name that quote unquote left Cardano was Meld, which is technically inaccurate. They've
Yeah, it's
shifted
not
their
true at
focus,
all.
but they're still here. So it just goes to show, I mean, the narrative has kind of gotten so big to the point where it's almost, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's very hard to fight that tide. All right, enough of me talking about that. Let's actually focus on the staking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big update. It's a big update. A lot of people have been asking about it. It's a simple way to earn passively. We've got traditional Cardano staking. Meld staking is no different. I believe that once the actual protocol launches, they're going to be providing some of the revenue from the protocol over into the staking, and then also over into node operators as well. So there's going to be continued benefits to staking, but then continued reasons as to why you want to continuously stake. Again, you're securing the protocol, securing the platform. And then even outside of staking, there's now going to be the first ever marketplace. There's going to be the first ever DEX coming on the Meld L1. They just released very recently their Meld Scan or their Meld Explorer on their blockchain. So a ton of updates, a ton of work coming in from Meld. Again, they're building steadily, And it looks like this year might be the year where we see the lending and borrowing go live on the Meld L1. If everything can be secured with IOG, we might see it launch on Cardano. And I continuously hear about a potential DAO vote that might come into effect too, which will allow for the Cardano community or just Meld token holders to decide whether or not they still want to launch the Meld protocol on Cardano with the current risk that the team has identified, right? So people say, hey, well, other lending and borrowing platforms have launched. Why can't Meld launch? Well, they're also taking a risk. And so if the Cardano community wants to vote that they want to take that risk, or Meld tokeners want to vote that they want to take that risk, it looks like it may happen on Cardano. Again, do your own due diligence, double check. These are not things that have been corroborated. These are things that I've personally heard. Until I hear the Meld team actually put out an article about it, it is what it is. But yeah, I think overall it's good. A lot of people continuously asking for more staking. The pools are all full. I think right now they've got like 8 or 9% of the total supply currently locked up. So pretty good stats in terms of adoption for their staking.
Yeah, I was going to say every time I try to get in there to do a review, I'm like, the pools are full. So I'm happy I got in when I did. I don't have a lot, but I mean, compared to what you could have in crypto, it could definitely be a little frustrating. So definitely, I would say to wait, right, and check it out pretty often. You hit on something interesting there. Coin Bureau, you were talking about that. I did not watch that video, but I assume it wasn't a super positive analysis of Cardano's blockchain, right? But I wanted to talk about responsibility in a sense where, even when I started this channel, and then, you're relatively new if you look at it as, you haven't been doing this for 20 years, but you're crushing it. And you're probably already starting to see it now where it's like, who you are as a person, it's really important. It makes life exciting. And this channel is really a reflection of who you are. So what are you trying to provide in that regard? Because I know for myself, it's like, yeah, I'm Crypto Moose, I'm loose, but like, I want to be honest. I don't want to come out with the scam token. I take this channel really seriously. Like I have the Crypto Moose, Loose Moose NFTs, and I can literally I brought on Wi-Fi, we did an interview, and I distributed tokens to all the holders. Like that's cool. So like, what are you going to leave behind when you're done? What does Fareed want to leave behind? Why are you doing DApp Central? Because the bigger you get, the more responsibility you're going to have in that sense too.
Yeah. Like I said, if I can help onboard people into Cardano, if I can help onboard people into crypto blockchain, if I can just pique somebody's interest, my mission will be accomplished. Again, being a resource that people can rely on, being the go-to spot for crypto news, that's what it's all about. I think right now I've started, of course, with Cardano. That's kind of where my heart is right now. But if the opportunity presents itself and I can grow the team, I can offload some of the current responsibilities, writing scripts, editing thumbnails, doing all the meta stuff after the upload. If I can pass some of that off, that frees up my time to do what I genuinely enjoy, which is actually creating content, right? So that potentially opens up for either more Cardano content or even more blockchain content for other networks as well, right? So maybe one day, Dapp Central's covering Avalanche, Dapp Central's covering, Lord forbid if I say Solana, Dapp Central is covering Bitcoin, Ethereum. Like I said, it's bigger than just Cardano. Cardano is home. It's always going to be home. But that's what happens when you grow. You look at Coin Bureau, the same exact kind of thing, right? Where a lot of people threw a lot of shade at Guy, but he's just the face. If you watch his videos very carefully, you'll notice that he's reading from a teleprompter, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I mean, somebody's written a script and this guy's just delivering on what somebody else has written. So sometimes I understand why people are frustrated, but I also understand that at that point, when you have 2 million subscribers, you can't please everybody. And so that's one thing that I've learned is that I can't please everybody either, even as small as my channel is, but I try to do my best to put out stuff that is going to be beneficial. In the same exact breath, I can't cover every single project because not every single project is going to be here. So the ones that show the most work, the most diligence, the most transparency, the most delivery, those are the ones that I try to focus on because, again, they are showing signs of taking it seriously, just like with my channel where I'm trying to show a sign that I'm taking it seriously. So I want people that watch my content to know that I'm not just here to put out content to entertain you. Yes, that's part of it every once in a while, you know, but it's not content that is pure entertainment. It's content that is meant to be educational. I mentioned this before. I think YouTube has two routes. You've either got the entertainment route or you've got the education route. Now people have kind of mixed that with, Mr. Beast. Of course, he's got high production where they call that edutainment. I feel like it's still more entertainment. It's not a lot of like when I watch a Mr. Beast video, I'm not learning something. I'm there for like the shock value and stuff that he's going to crush, destroy, or crazy challenges.
Yeah.
But now you've got content creators that are mixing both worlds and they call it edutainment. You come to get some education and some entertainment. And so as the channel grows, it'll just be a matter of venturing out, trying new things. And yeah, maybe that's, expanding out to other ecosystems, maybe even bringing on other people that also post content on Dapp Central as well, where it's not just me anymore. Now Dapp Central's a brand where, it's more than Fareed. I want to put out quality, but I don't want to jeopardize that for quantity, so sticking to that is really the goal here moving forward.
What is true and why you're doing so well, which I love and respect too, is you're authentic and people can relate to
Thank
that.
you.
Like you're not trying to sell people anything. And if you do an affiliate link, it's like cool, but people get that from you. That's why I watch you. Cause I'm like, I know
Thank you.
I'm going to get like, whatever. Let's say you make a mistake as you say information that's wrong. It doesn't even matter. When you speak, people know that it's coming from the heart. And I think people relate to that because authenticity is super powerful. So don't ever lose that because you are going to blow up. You're
Thank
going to
you.
be on
No, I
every like your
appreciate that.
brand is crushing.
That means a
Dapp
lot.
Central delegation. Let's talk about that. How is your stake pool? I've never done one. I don't plan on doing one. Can you talk about what is perhaps your DAPP for delegation? Dumb it
Mhm.
down, and why someone would want to do that. Why did you do that?
Yeah. So again, I understand, in this space, not only do you have to talk the talk, you got to walk it as well, right? So us as creators, we talk a lot. We talk a lot to ourselves. We talk a lot to the camera. And I talk about other people that are contributing to the space. And I'm like, well, who else better to contribute than myself? So one of the easiest ways, well, I won't say one of the easiest ways, but one of the ways that you can contribute to the space is through decentralization, right? So we're obviously contributing here from a content standpoint, providing hopefully value to people that are watching, but we're also aiming to provide benefits to the network. And you're able to do that by decentralizing it even further. So that's really where the idea for the stake pool came from. The ticker, I mean, that was a no-brainer for me. DAPP, Dapp Central. I was surprised it wasn't already taken. So I jumped on that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you can't have multiple tickers. Um, I don't see any other DAPPs. If somebody want to, technically they could create another DAPP. But yeah, right now I'm the only Dapp Central stake pool. And yeah, that's really where it came from, was a sense to contribute to the space. And technically, I mean, I kind of was late to the party. One of the biggest advantages for myself and for you too, right, is the fact that you have a voice in the space. When you post content, people see you. A lot of people are in this space. There's always a lot of chatter, especially on platforms like Twitter. So much noise. It was a little bit quieter during the bear market. Now it's kind of getting noisy again.
Yeah.
But as a creator, your voice stands out because you have leverage that a lot of people don't have, which is your content reaches people that really trust and believe in you. And so again, as long as you don't abuse that, people are willing to support you. And so yeah, when I started the stake pool, crazy enough, for like the first month, just ran into issues. It was around the time where Cardano had a upgrade, and there's basically an issue. I'll just leave it at that, where nodes became desynchronized. So over like 50% of the nodes, which there's 3,000 nodes or stake pools, 50% of those became desynchronized and were basically offline or not contributing to the network. And so as a part of that, a lot of people had to upgrade their nodes, and literally that epoch is like when my stake pool launched. And so like as soon as we launched, we had like issues, we had to upgrade. And so rewards weren't coming in, and the community stuck by me. I think it was, like I said, about 4 or 5 epochs for about a month. And people still delegated their ADA. They could have said, hey, I'm going to pull out. I'm going to go move my ADA somewhere else. I don't feel like supporting. But again, that's where I really, really learned about the Cardano community. And that's, I think, our biggest asset here is the community, people willing to support in the good, in the bad. As long as you're doing your job, you're providing value, and you're doing that in an honest fashion, right? Because again, this space is full of predatory behavior, right? You take a look at scammers. We've got this guy who scammed over 500,000 ADA right now. Nobody knows who that is, you know, but those things can happen.
Hmm.
So just making sure that, you're on the right side of things will pay off. And that was one of the clear examples for me that motivated me even further, to continue, was when I saw people still sticking by my pool, even though, they could have went somewhere else and got rewards for 2 or 3 epochs. And now, actually crazy, I just checked the pool. We've officially crossed over 8 million ADA. So I want to just take the time here to actually say thank you to everybody who delegates. I want to say thank you to you, Moose, as well. I've seen your videos where you shout out my pool and you tell people to come delegate to my pool. It's the little things like that that really make a difference. It didn't happen overnight. I mean, it's been an entire year. At one point, I felt like I was never going to break past, 2 million delegation. And then over the course of the last, 3 months, I've been added as a partner pool for Matera. That's helped me out a lot. And then, just with the content and people jumping back into the space, that's also helped a lot as well. So just want to take a minute here to say thank you for everybody for delegating and supporting, yourself included, Moose.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that. You guys, comment down below. Are you delegating to DAPP, right? That's what it is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it's in the 1 hour Cardano course. So I have like a 1 hour mini course. I think we delegate to that. Not a lot, but other people can do it. Um, what I want to talk about for that too, I had something to talk about, is what you can do when you own Cardano, the asset, is you can delegate to a pool. It helps keep Cardano decentralized, and you earn a little bit of the new supply. So what can you earn in terms of percentages for delegating your assets to DApp's stake pool? So DAPP. And on top of that, you guys can do that with the hardware wallet. So if you have something like a Trezor, the idea of with Cardano, unlike Ethereum, which is also $90 to open up your wallet, I'm joking, but it is expensive. You guys can have your tokens on a non custodial wallet, a hardware wallet, and just sign a transaction saying, yes, my tokens I'm delegating to DAPP, and you earn a little bit of the new supply every epoch, 5 days, right? So I just wanted to mention that for the beginners, especially.
Yeah, I think that's a really solid point. And as you mentioned, you asked a good question during our live stream the other day, ISPOs. So depending on, which ISPOs a particular pool supports, you can even earn other tokens as well. So right now, I believe it's up until epoch number 493, you can also earn the Matera token by delegating to DApp. Now, it's not going to be forever, right? But depending on which pools have ongoing ISPOs, just like Melt had their own pools and their own ISPO, if you're aware of what's going on, you can earn your ADA and some.
Yeah, awesome. I know for those of you that have been watching Crypto Moose, we've been delegating to Dega, and they also did a triple rewards bonus. So have you been participating in that?
I have. There's just so much going on, if I'll be honest, Moose, to where I try to keep up with everything, but just like with content, you have to pick certain things to kind of keep your focus on. Now, delegating, to be fair, is not a difficult task. You get some ADA set in a wallet, you delegate that, and you can kind of set and forget it. But I am earning some Dega tokens right now. Definitely not as much as you're earning. I've been keeping up with your updates there as well. So it'll be interesting because I think the ISPO, it got a little boost, right? They extended it a little bit longer. It was supposed to be ending, I think, around now, actually,
It's
right?
true. Yep. They extended it.
Yeah.
So
So interesting project that I'm going to be keeping an eye out on. I probably actually need to give my community an update on Dega soon.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's a little bit more complex. It's a little bit harder to explain in terms of like, it's not just like Meld where it's a lending DeFi protocol type thing or like a video game. So because they're building tools to help Web3, right? So to get into the specifics, even for me, I'm not a coder. I don't know, but I can share as much as I do know. So we got about 5 minutes left. So I want to wrap up with a couple questions. Let's start with this one. So goals for 2024. What are your goals? What are your musts? What are you looking to achieve? And can Crypto Moose help out at all? Like, I'll keep you supporting you, and I'll message you. Are you doing that? What are you guys trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, definitely continue reaching out. Um, I feel like there's a couple ways to look at it. Crypto is one piece of my life. I enjoy it. but it's not the only thing I want to focus on this year. I've got personal goals, financial goals, spiritual goals. I've got other things that I'm trying to improve at as well. I'll focus for now on crypto because that's what we're chatting about here. As a part of 2024, I would have to say, number one would just be to grow the channel. You know, we've been grinding, myself, you, Josh from Late Game, Pete, Paul, all these other creators in the space have been grinding for the last 2 years, scraping views, and we finally are now where like the fire hose is turned on. We're tasting a little bit of that water dripping out of that faucet, but it's not turned on all the way just yet.
In a bear
When that,
market, I
yeah,
started this channel at the worst time in human history.
same here. But you know what? You're better for it because you got to sharpen your skills. Imagine if you're starting in the bull market and now you're trying to figure out how to speak into a camera, what the protocols are about. That's the worst time to start a channel, even though people think that's the best time. It's kind of like investing, right? People want to invest a lot of money at the top when the prices are green, when you should have been investing 2 years ago when it was actually red. It's like this reverse psychology concept. Same exact thing applies to content creation. And so, for me, building during the bear was huge, but now being able to really take advantage of the bull market, trying to stay even more consistent now because the opportunity's there. People are watching, people are subscribing, people are sharing. Right now is the best time. So that's going to be, I would say, really my first goal is to just grow the channel as much as possible because the next bear will come and it's going to go back to scraping for views again. But that's just part of the hustle. It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's how the space moves. That's probably goal number one. And no specific order, by the way. These are just things that are coming to my mind.
Yeah.
Goal number two would be to just create products, you know, whether that's a free course, whether that's a newsletter, whether that's, a Discord group, NFT collection. There's many ways to provide value outside of just creating YouTube videos. It's one thing that I enjoy for sure. I'll keep doing that. But I'd love to create some sort of value in a different way than I already have. I kind of feel like now I can take my training wheels off of YouTube and I can put training wheels on something else and start to do something brand new. So that would be goal number two. And then if maybe I just pick a third goal, um, level up the quality, that's the thing. I realize you can't get complacent, just like with protocols. There's always competition. At the end of the day, I feel like the kind of community is still pretty supportive of each other. But when you look at, just business in general, Apple didn't get to where Apple got by being complacent. Every year there's a new iPhone, it gets better. Every year there's a new pair of AirPods, they get better. Every year there's a new Apple Watch, it gets better. We have to be the same way with our content. You can't get complacent and think, oh man, the content that I did last year, I did these couple of tricks, I'm going to do these same tricks forever. No, you got to learn more, level up the production quality, level up the camera gear, level up the microphone, level up your personality. That was a problem for me at one point. I was like stiff, dry. I feel like your personality, it comes out very well. You're a comedian at heart, and I can tell that, And so I feel like you just have to play to your strengths. And my strength is not being a comedian. My strength is like just delivering the facts.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Everybody's different. So it's learning, improving, and not being happy with where I was last year, looking to constantly improve.
Dude, that's awesome. That was a great response. And it's similar to me. Like we're similar in age and doing the same thing, at least when it comes to, crypto content, kind of similar. Yeah, I think about that too. Because for me, my biggest one is partnerships, reaching out more. Because I'm more of like the solopreneur kind of guy, lone wolf type mentality in some ways. And it's like, I'm very introverted. I can be extroverted, but I lose my energy quick. So I get tired even after this call. I coach my nephew in hockey, so I was out on the ice coaching kids, and I'm exhausted after. So, I even interviewed Wi-Fi Stephen Ward, so that was cool. Like for me, I want to put myself out there. I'd like to go to the next Cardano Summit. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to meet the teams and get a little uncomfortable. I think is what you're saying too, right? Speaking of that, what were your reactions? I did send you some images of the ADA plates. So I'm one of the things I want to do, and I talked about it like with you, and you guys have seen the Loose Moose. I've always wanted to learn how to put out my own NFT collection for the longest time, and I've been afraid. So I did the loose moose. I did a small amount, right? And I want to, because that one's very utility based. What do you think of the ADA plates? Just the art. I put my head down. Since Christmas, I swear, since Christmas, I've worked the hardest of my life.
And
So
maybe you release content about how to create a collection. Again, you're not the only person that has this question, right?
yeah,
Maybe that's your niche. You start to talk about that. Whatever your passion is, just create the content around that. But to answer your question, I mean, my initial reaction was that it's unique. It's unique. It's different. I'm actually surprised that I haven't seen anything else like that before. It's like a simple thing because you don't think
yeah,
about it. You're like, you see license plates all over the place, and they're all unique. People have got custom real world license plates, but then to bring that concept on chain, do that as an NFT collection, that was the first thing that I thought, was that it was very unique, and it was vibrant. I like the colors with the actual plates themselves. So interesting concept. I mean, I'm wondering how you came up with that.
yeah. I came up with it with Kevin. So like I'm kind of weird like that, but I like creating ideas like that. I used to create online courses with other people, and I help them create the vision, right? Like I go by colors, I go by all those different things. Like I'm more of a creative at heart, right? If I'm not creating, I'm dying. Like I'm suffering. Like I don't know how else to explain it. It's been incredible. Anything else you want to go over? How can people hit you up? Guys, guys, please comment down below whatever questions you have. But guys, if you have ADA, you can delegate to DApp. And I'm saying that because where else are you going to delegate where you can support an awesome Cardano content creator? So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Let people know how can we get a hold of you and follow you.
Yeah, you can check out the channel Dapp Central, DAPPCENTRAL on YouTube, Dapp Central on X or Twitter if you want to call it that. I'll send you those links, and you can go ahead and share those in the show notes or in the description down below for the viewers. But short of that, yeah, I mean, I do check my email. It is getting harder now to respond to everything. I do my best to also respond to all the comments on my channel as well.
Yeah.
But between creating content, my regular 9 to 5, the gym, eating, sleeping, all of that, it's becoming a little bit more of a task. But like I said, I still do my best. And so, like I said, as I grow, hopefully I can get people to help me out with that, where I can intimate with the community and spend that time like I used to, literally answering every single comment. Like I used to pride myself on not having a single comment to reply to because I would, on even the negative ones, I would
Yeah.
sit there and respond to them. But yeah, that's like the easiest way to get in touch would just be through the channel or through X or Twitter. You can also send me an email at dap.central.crypto@gmail.com. I think that's really it. If you want to take it a step further, as Mitchell Bouchard, your NFT and crypto investor, said, you can delegate to the Dapp Central stake pool, and I'd be more than grateful for those contributions.
Yeah, guys, nothing is financial advice like we always talk about. It's all entertainment and educational, really. So, that being said, everybody, we're going to close this. I'm going to have a little chat with Dapp after the outro because, we haven't talked in a little bit. So, guys, pick up a hardware wallet. Not your keys, not your cheese. Protect yourself because the scams are coming. It is true. So, cheers, everybody.